It's late June, and this is the point where the garden stops being a plan and starts becoming a negotiation. Some things are ready to harvest, some things are ready to be moved. Some pots need a second life, and I'm still planting flowers. Welcome to PDX Garden Home.
I'm pretty happy with my sweet peas. I haven't grown a lot of sweet peas in the past and had mixed success. I would call what I got here success. I didn't plant a ton. But what I want to do here is I'm trimming off the deadheading, the spent flowers that are turning into or have turned into pea pods, because that way hopefully I get more flowers for a longer period of time. I don't want to see these pea pods on my sweet pea vines. And in case you're wondering, these pea pods are not edible. They're different than your regular kind of green peas that you think of as eating peas. They're a little bit fuzzy. They wouldn't be good eating anyway, but they're just not an edible thing to begin with. I need to go to the optometrist. It's hit me all of a sudden. I'm more than middle-aged, a little more than middle-aged now, and my wife and my colleagues and others, friends and things that I have in my age group for the last few years have been complaining about how, especially if we already wear glasses or contact lenses, how I'm not able to see up close as well as we used to be. And this like suddenly hit me like in the last week. Like all of a sudden I was looking at my phone and realized I couldn't really make out the text. I was not under, and I was just looking at this stuff and I'm like, I'm not sure when I'm in here close if I'm actually seeing where some of these pea pods are. I've otherwise worn contacts since I was like 18 years old, so I'm near regular kind of common nearsightedness. At least that's what I've had previously, but I understand as you get older, things like that can change. You can end up having a different kinds of eye issues later. It's a nice morning out here. It's going to get to about 80 degrees today, and then next couple of days after that, it's going to start to get into the 90s again, and then it's supposed to cool down again after that, back into like the low 70s, 60s for a couple of days. Welcome to Pacific Northwest gardening. Okay, I'm sure I didn't get all of them. But got a lot of them. Hopefully that gives me some extended flowering. You can't smell it from your vantage point, but these sweet peas smell amazing. I feel like I did something worthwhile here. Well, I've got several of these kind of tall planters here that I'm going to plant some sunflowers in, starting with this yellow one here. I think this is the teddy bear sunflower. Drop a little bit of fertilizer pellets in there. Okay, I'm just going to put that off to the side so I'll transport that and my other ones at the same time, and let me grab another one to do. So this container, I think is something we picked up from a roadside or a garage sale or something like that. I think it was just a giveaway. It's just an old rusted kind of tall container, and I'm going to put another sunflower in here, and I've got two kinds of sunflowers I'm planting that this could be, but I'm not sure which one it is. So this could either be the Moulin Rouge or it could be the Vanilla Ice. I think it's the Moulin Rouge. Just the the vanilla ice has a kind of a thinner, more wispy kind of stem, if I remember right. Okay, make some room for this guy. Okay, got another one here. Park it over here for a minute and get another one. Okay, another sunflower planter here. Come on, there we go. Okay, down in there. And boom, that's that. One more down. Put some water on that. Okay, so I've got 3 there. Okay, well this taller pot used to be a orange pot. The sun has turned it kind of more like salmon. I was gonna say pink, but maybe salmon color or a peach color. Okay, one more. This one could be the vanilla ice, but I'm not actually sure what survived here. About half my sunflowers didn't germinate. I don't know if it's because I was trying to germinate them too soon or what, but. Okay. So I now have 4 sunflowers in these kind of containers, and I need to go find a place to put them in the garden. Check out where I've got my 4 sunflowers planted so far. So I've got one here, and that one in that green tall pot there, I'm going to maybe move down here, but I didn't want to start it down there for now because I was afraid it'd get shaded out by the lavender. So I'm gonna wait till it grows a little bit, then I'll put it down here. I think that'll work well. And then around the corner here, I've got the one in the yellow pot there. Once that grows up, I think that'll work good. And then I've got the kind of brass, rusted, maybe not brass, but just the rusted tin, maybe that's what it is. Tall planter there. And then over here, I put what I'm now calling the salmon colored planter or peach colored planter there. I'm gonna tuck a sunflower right there. This thing growing up here is the trumpet vine that I don't want growing in there. Its root system may be way under the ground, maybe even under the fence, so I'm not gonna try to dig into that right now, but there's a bulb in there, the kind that I don't like. The Spanish bluebell. Okay. Need to remember to come back and water that guy. Maybe I'll just do that with a watering can right away. This morning, got my iced coffee. I a couple more pots, only 2 more to fill. Got to figure out where else to put all the flowers. But for now, there were these kind of pots, were 3 on packs of these at Costco for 20 bucks. I got several rounds of these over the last 30 days or so. I think they're probably almost out. They may be out by now because they only had a few of these left when I was there. Like a lot of big box stores, Costco follows the market, which means that the season for gardening supplies and everything kind of ends. You know, it starts in like March or April and then kind of ends by June, July. Whereas for me, it's like, well, it just keeps going. I still have more things to plant, more gardening to do. And so using Costco as my supply period, sometimes I stock up on things because I know that they're gonna stop carrying them sometime around now. Okay, got just a little bit of potting soil in here that I'm gonna use to fill this pot up here. And then I'm gonna be throwing some potting mix in these things because I don't wanna have to go get bulk potting mix at this stage right now. I'm gonna do this on the ground. That's not enough, not nearly enough. I think that's good. I'm gonna pre-water this. What I have here is a dahlia. I saved dahlia bulbs from last year, and I had several of them. Well, many of them, trays of them, and I put them in these little pots to sprout. I would say only about a third sprouted, interestingly enough, so I don't know why that is. Maybe because I had them out here in the winter and they got too cold or something, I'm not sure. Or maybe they still just need more warmth for a longer period of time. But then why are some doing it and some aren't? I don't know. And then I'm gonna surround this with some zinnias here. It's a flower that I have not planted out anywhere. I've had it in starts, but this is the first time I've actually put it in something that will actually be in the garden. Not sure how many I should try to cram in here. Maybe I'll do this whole tray here. That's that pot. Let's go get another pot. All right, I've got a second one of these white pots that I was talking about from Costco. And so here, I'm going to plant this dahlia in there. And then surround it with some more zinnias. I pre-moistened this soil here, this potting mix. Get these in there and that'll be good. That'll be that. Whoops. Okay. Split that apart. There we go. Okay. That should be a really cool pot. Now go find a place for it. Well, I have a bunch of June-bearing strawberries that are not going to bear fruit because we are past mid-June here. And most of these are actually the hood variety, which is a prized variety here in our area. So what I'm going to do is, you want your strawberries to keep growing at this time of year, even though they're not going to keep fruiting, these June bearers. I want them to keep growing, and they're actually putting off runners, which could, and I can propagate and create more strawberries for next year. So I don't want them to stop growing. I think I've said that several times. I'll say it one more time. I want to keep them growing. I also want to free up my kind of pots, you know, as showy as this is, but I want to free up the pots that are kind of for the main event and just use these black nursery pots to keep them going, because I have a side of the house that you don't really see that's not part of the garden that I use for just storing stuff. It's where I put out you may have seen it in a prior video, because I stored spring bulbs out there to let them keep energy from their greens until they were ready to truly die off the season. And so I'm not sure if this one is the right size for this, but we'll see here in a second. What I'm going to do is transplant these carefully into regular kind of nursery pots that are not the garden show pots, so to speak, and then put them over to the side of the house and let them carry on. And then also that'll give me an opportunity to anchor these into secondary pots and do some propagation. That'll be, I'll have a little strawberry propagation area going on over there. Will be the idea. So I'm gonna see what I can do here. You're watching me figure this out live. Let's see. And you want to keep the roots intact and in soil, but you don't want to bury the crown. So I think what I'll do is I'll try to see if I can basically squeeze the whole thing out into the, I guess what I'm curious about is I don't know how big the root ball is here. So let's just try this and see. I see little white threads everywhere. So I think there's a lot of root system that isn't like what you think of as the main roots of this plant. I don't know how deep it goes though. I thought previously that strawberries are primarily a surface guy, but yeah, it looks like it is actually reasonably deep in there. Yeah, it's got these little hairs here, and then this doesn't look like the roots that went in, kind of those, which is interesting. They were a little drier, I guess, and so I mean I think I've clearly damaged the roots in doing that, but let's just drop that over here for a second. So maybe my strategy will be to dig around it as much as I can and get as much of that root ball as I can. Because I don't think I could just literally dump the whole thing out, but maybe I could. Maybe I'll try that on the next one with these buckets. But given that root ball, the bucket I chose or the nursery pot I chose is the right size. It's big enough. I'll move this over here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. See my nursery pot there, and I'm just going to lay this in here. Follow along with my craziness. Just laying that in there. Maybe do it this way so I can see better. And then trying to get this potting soil back on it. And as I'm doing this, I'll kind of project my next step would be to just soak this thing with lots of water, give it a good drink. So when I'm picking it up a little bit, because I don't want to bury the crown. I want to get the roots in there without. I'm actually going to give it a little bit of fertilizer too when I'm done here, just so it can keep on growing. Well, okay. I think that's probably fine. I'm going to go put this over in the holding area and then figure out kind of how I set up little pots. I'll put little like 4-inch pots maybe that these things kind of root into in order to propagate the hood strawberry. Don't want to lose my tag. I want to keep track of what this is. And then we'll see if I can rinse and repeat and do this with several pots here. Well, now that I have transplanted the hood strawberry from this pot to a plain black nursery pot and parked it around the other side of the house for holding, I am going to plant up this pot with dahlia and some zinnias. And I can do this with several pots today. Dahlia bulb there. Okay. Dahlias in. For my zinnias, these are the California Giants that were planted from seed under the garage lights and now are ready to be out in the world. They've been hanging out in my holding area outside for a while now, for weeks, several weeks at least, so they're definitely ready, more than ready, to find a more suitable landing spot. See if I can split these and keep them. I'll try planting that one. Room for exactly 2 more here. Whoops, very dry, that one. It's always weird to me like how it is that in the same cell tray, some will be completely moist and others will be totally dry. I mean, I'm watering them at the same time, I'm giving them the same amount of water. I don't, maybe it's just the angle or the way the wind hit them when they're outside or something like that, I don't know. Okay, there's the pot. Here we've got another hood strawberry. It's got a runner going on it there. So I think based on the last ones, I think it'll have a root ball big or so in there. So I'm gonna try to carefully dig around that and then pull it out and transplant it into this nursery pot here. Yeah, it's got a lot of little roots. They're almost over all the way to the side there, so this one's had a lot of growth to it. Okay, yeah. I think that's good, yeah. Won't cover the crown, I'll just drop it in there. Let me move this one over and out of the way, and then I can show you what I'm doing here. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna throw a little bit of fertilizer pellets in there, so I didn't do that earlier. We're back at it, and I've got another dahlia to plant here, and then I will put some zinnias around there, another mix of California giant zinnias. Let's make a space for this. There we go, that's good. And actually, I want to get some more fertilizer in here. I haven't put more fertilizer in here yet, and the pot wasn't spent with the strawberry that much, but I don't see any pellets left, so it may have just gotten the fertilizer that was in there may have just gotten washed through. Probably would have just gotten washed through over the last few months. Okay, there's my dahlia bulb. Boom. Trays, that should be enough. This one's really dry. Maybe we'll make it happy by potting it up over here and getting it a lot of moisture. This pot's a little smaller than the last pots I was doing, so I'm not going to plant as many zinnias. I think I was getting 6 in the other one. I'm just going to put 4 in here. Zinnias usually do pretty good transplanting for me, but okay, this pot's ready. This pot is ready to go. So this one is a seascape, which should be an ever-bearing strawberry, but as you can see, it browned out on me, died early. I don't know why. Several that did that earlier that I dealt with for a month ago as well. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to actually put it in a smaller pot, because it's just the roots won't, my guess is when we look in there, the roots won't have taken anyway. I'm just going to put it in a smaller pot and see if it will need more time to kind of catch and go, or if it truly is just dead and dying together. So let me get a smaller pot to put this in. Yeah, if I'm right about the root structure of this system that's in there, this will be big enough, but we shall see here real quick. There we go. Yeah, it just came right out. Okay, so there we are. It's kind of the original bare root. It just never survived. My guess is it's probably just dead, and that's that, but we may as well park it and see if there's any chance that this will come back. I don't have quite enough experience with that to know what might happen or not happen there. So just Did it dry out? Was the crown buried too deep? Did the roots get damaged? So many possibilities there. Did it have too much water early on? Was it too cold? You know, all the possibilities. Okay, I'm gonna park this where I'm parking the other strawberries, but I'm just gonna set to the side for now, because now I've got a pretty, I mean, yeah, I didn't really have to take much soil out of there, so I've got a planter here full of potting mix. And I don't think there was anything particularly wrong with the potting mix that caused that issue. And given that the strawberry never grew, this potting mix is virtually unused for the season. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant my dahlia. I'm going to plant a dahlia right in there. Maybe throw a few zinnias around it like I did in the other pot, and we'll be good there. Okay, another hood strawberry pot to clear here. You'll see me do it similar to what I've done before so far. I've got my nursery pot container here. I'll be putting some of the dirt into, and then I'll do a transplant and we'll be good. Well, maybe these are gonna form into strawberries and I'm doing this one too soon. We're now getting into late June, so with this June bearer, it seems unlikely. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna take these two other labels because I think I put some out there that didn't have labels in them. Okay, need to go take this over to the storage area. Okay, this pot is cleared out of the strawberry, and the next step is another dahlia. So, another dahlia and another round of some zinnias to throw in there with it. It's kind of boring now, but when it's all flowering, it will not be as boring. Okay. I don't think I can get all of these in this pot, so I'll just do a couple here. These two twisted together. Pull those two apart there. Another 2 for 1. Okay, I'll just put one right here and call this pot good. Okay, this pot is done for now. Give it a little water. Go get it out there in the sun. Well, I've got a broccoli head in here, and I've got actually a couple of them, one here, one down there. And unfortunately, or fortunately, when they're ready, they're ready. You got to harvest them right away. So this one's ready because if I don't harvest it, and I'll show you here what happens, then these will open up and turn into lots of little yellow flowers, and you won't really get good broccoli there. So I'm not going to have much broccoli in my harvest today, so I've got that, and I've got one similar size, but kind of no choice because I can't wait for others to come in. That's sometimes it's a little bit of frustration for me because it's like, well, if I don't have enough for like a full-on meal of broccoli, then I want to save it till I do. But then that means if I save this in the fridge for, say, another week for some other broccoli to come in, then not all my broccoli is as fresh as it could be. That's just the way it goes. I guess if I'm more pro at this, I would make sure I'm planting more, or I have more that I would take steps to try to see if I could get more that would mature at a similar time. But anyway, let's come along and see some of the other broccoli that we're going to harvest here. I leave the broccoli plant in there after I harvest because, just like you can see it's already doing here, it'll shoot up these side shoots, and so you'll get more broccoli eating out of it over time. Usually, most broccolis, you harvest the main head, you'll get some additional side shoots from it. Even kind of your big traditional ones like that produce the big ones, you can get that. The smaller heads that come later are usually not as big, but they're still good eating, and you can still get some more production out of it. You just kind of have to decide. You get to a point where with some of these broccolis where maybe you're on the second or third side shoots and they're just not as big, and the plant's not worth taking up the space because you have new broccoli coming in that's producing bigger heads, and so that's usually when I would get rid of the plant at that point. Actually speaking of old plants, we still have an old plant from last year that flowered. I cut it down and now it's got some more small heads on it, so I'm gonna go cut those to add to this harvest, and maybe they'll give us a little more something to put on the table. There we go. There's the old broccoli plant I was mentioning. Get some harvests, some small harvests from that. What I want to do here, because it's older, is I just want to check if it's tender enough to be even worth it. And one of the ways I do it is I actually just bite the end. Yeah, that's not bad. And then I cut off the end that I bit, so. And there we go. Too flowery to be worth it. I need a compost basket. Back to business here. So I'm just gonna, the stuff that is not good for harvesting right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and just take off in hopes that I can inspire more good eating to come off this plant. And these were actually looking better a couple days ago. I should have taken them then. I think I'll get some side shoots off that maybe. We'll see. We'll just keep experimenting with it. It didn't look that meaningful today. But like I said, some of these had not opened up a couple days ago, and if I had taken them then, they would have been better. That old guy. Look at that, it's like a tree. Okay. Well, that's it for the broccoli adventure this morning.